If you haven't heard the news, Dr. Seuss revealed that they were banning some books from their catalog because they didn't find the material suitable for this day and age. This got us thinking, what other children's books have been banned in the past and for what reasons? And I discovered that honestly most of the books that we all read as kids have probably been banned at one point in time. I'm Mackenzie, you're watching InformOverload, and let's get into the top 10 banned children's books. But first, make sure to subscribe if you're new here. And at number 10, Winnie the Pooh. It's hard to think that anyone could hate a lovable bear named Pooh, but the book has been banned in many countries over the years. The book was banned in parts of the USA because they found the talking animals to be a quote insult to God. Several institutions in Turkey and the UK have also banned the book, claiming that the character of Piglet is offensive to Muslims. China also banned the film release of Christopher Robin in 2018, a movie that was based on the book, after it was discovered that some citizens would use Winnie the Pooh to mock their President Z. The mocking usually happened when people took photos of Pooh and Z and put them side by side where they appeared to look similar. And at number 9, Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. This book is one of the most famous books ever written, authored by a young Jewish girl while she was hiding in an attic during the Second World War in Amsterdam. However, the book has been banned in many schools in the United States. One Virginia school banned the book because they found the book to be too sexually suggestive. They also did not like how it explored same-sex relationships. The book was banned in other American states because it was criticized for being too depressing for children to read. Most recently, in May of 2013, a Michigan mother tried to get it banned because she compared some of the content in the book to the type of content that would be seen in X-rated films, if you catch my drift. And at number 8, Bridge to Terabithia. This book, which was later adapted into a movie, tells the story of two kids who create an imaginary world together, where magical things take place. This book was specifically banned by a school in Pennsylvania in 1996, on accounts of, quote, profanity, disrespect for adults, and an elaborate fantasy world that might lead to confusion. The book was also banned by other schools for using religious phrases in an incorrect manner, specifically terms like, quote, oh Lord or Lord. And if you know how the story goes, then you know that the end of the book also depicts a tragedy, which some young people might not be able to handle. And at number 7, Alice in Wonderland. This well-known book is about a young girl named Alice who falls through a rabbit hole into a fantasy world populated by interesting creatures. And it's so beloved it has been turned into movies multiple times. But this book was very controversial throughout the 1900s and was actually banned 3 times during the 20th century. The reasons all boil down to the fact that a book like that had never been written at that time, and the illustrations and storyline were very unusual. This led people to look deeper into the meaning of everything and really just find negative meaning in anything that they could. It was also famously challenged in the 1960s as adults were worried that the book would promote drug use to young people. However, years later, the book is now beloved globally. And at number 6, the Harry Potter series. The Harry Potter books are some of the most popular ever written, being particularly beloved by kids. But there are a lot of people who think that the books have some major flaws. The books actually topped the American Library Association's Office for Intellectual Freedom's list of banned books in 2000 after a number of complaints from parents. Some think that the themes in the book go further than witchcraft and encourage dark magic. The most well-organized event against the books was an organized book burning. This took place in 2001 in Lewiston, Maine, by a group of parents. These parents believed the books promoted violence, witchcraft, and worshipping dark figures. At point number 5, A Wrinkle in Time. This book is about a girl traveling through time and space to rescue her father, and it's another book that is ranked highly on ALA's 100 most frequently challenged books from the 1990s to 2009. The people that seem most outraged by the book are religious groups. They argue that the book undermines religious beliefs and can challenge the child's idea of God. In 1990, an Alabama school district challenged the book because someone objected to the book's reference of Jesus Christ's name alongside figures like Buddha, Gandhi, and Shakespeare as defenders of the earth against evil. Critics of the book felt that it implied that Christ was not divine. Lastly, people challenged the book for just being too complicated for children to understand, claiming it should be targeted at an older age group. And at number 4, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Believe it or not, this seemingly harmless classic has faced backlash for years and has been banned numerous times. In 1928, the Chicago Public Library banned the book because it was deemed, quote, not literature, but somehow rather evil for children. Over the years, it has also faced backlash because of its, quote, ungodly influence. This, I assume, is for listening to a voice in the sky. The book also faced censorship in the early 1900s because people were upset that it showed a woman in a leadership role, which just shows how much times have changed for the better, thankfully. Then in 1957, the director of the Detroit Public Library banned the books for having, quote, no value for children today, and for, quote, bringing children's minds to a cowardly level. And lastly, the book was banned in 1986 by a religious group for speaking about witches. And in number 3, James and the Giant Peach. The book ranked number 50 on American Library Association's most challenged books of 1990 to 1999. The story follows a boy who travels to New York City in a giant peach with the help of his insect friends along the way. One of the most prominent reasons it's been banned has been, quote, for being too scary for the targeted age groups. This includes mysticism, sexual references, swearing, disobedient behavior, and racially insensitive themes. More specifically, one Wisconsin town actually banned the book in 1986 because of sexual themes. And the example in the book that promoted this was a scene featuring the spider licking her lips. Let's just say that wouldn't have been my first thought, but okay. And at number 2, The Adventures of Captain Underpants series. These set of books hold a special place in my heart, but they are another book that has been challenged by groups over the years. It's actually claimed by Insider to be the most banned book in all of America, even beating out the more controversial 50 Shades of Grey. I literally don't even know if that's possible. The 10-part series follows 2 prank-loving young boys who create a superhero called Captain Underpants. In 2015, the latest installment in the series, quote, Captain Underpants and the Sensational Saga of Sir Stinks-a-Lot, was banned by a Michigan elementary school because it featured a same-sex married couple. As well, in the past, it's been challenged for showcasing disruptive behavior, offensive language, violence, and being unsuitable for the age group. The most interesting part of these books, though, is that they're very aware of the criticism and frequently add warnings in the books before controversial chapters. However, if you actually read these warnings, they're usually just kind of trolling the parents that think that it's a bad influence. And finally, at number 1, the Dr. Seuss books. Recently, Dr. Seuss Enterprises has made the decision to strip 6 books from its catalog. In a statement, they said, quote, ceasing sales of these books is only part of our commitment and our broader plan to ensure Dr. Seuss Enterprises catalog represents and supports all communities and families. The specific books that are being axed are And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street, If I Ran the Zoo, McEllie God's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Supper, and The Cat's Quizzer. The decision came in part after a 2019 study found that out of 50 books by Dr. Seuss, 43 out of the 45 characters of color had, quote, characteristics aligning with the definition of Orientalism, or the stereotypical offensive portrayal of Asia. As well, the African characters had anti-black characteristics as well. One example from If I Ran the Zoo was when the book referred to Japanese characters as, quote, helpers who all wear their eyes at a slant from countries no one can spell. Alright guys, that's all for the list. Let me know your thoughts below. Specifically, let me know which book on this list surprised you the most. For me, I think it's probably The Diary of Anne Frank, but there were tons of surprising ones in here. Now before I go, I'm going to shout out some comments from my corpse husband video. Ida said, I'm actually embarrassed and ashamed to be a part of Gen Z. Yeah, some of his lyrics were inappropriate, but that stands for almost all rappers. I was raised on Eminem, you can't cancel him. I imagine it wouldn't be the first time. No, I'm kidding. I'm on the edge of Gen Z and Millennial. I do affiliate myself a little more with Gen Z, but definitely not in this instant. Sam said, you don't cancel Eminem, he cancels you. And that's a fact. I actually think he released a diss track on Gen Z on Friday. I haven't listened to it yet though. And Queen of Darkness said, if Corpse doesn't want his face revealed, then he doesn't have to. Can we please respect that? He deserves his privacy. Completely agree. I think the vast majority of people agree, but hopefully like one bad egg doesn't kind of ruin the whole thing. Then Elizabeth said, I swear it seems that all big influencers cheat on TikTok, their girlfriends. At least one of all of them just seem to be F-boys. Yeah, that's a very common theme. They all seem to do that. A lot of people are saying it's not true that Bryce did not cheat. I don't know. I feel like he might not have, but he's just a sus guy. Anyway, I personally don't like him. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thank you so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and want to see some more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith, and I will catch you lovely people in the next one.